This is Danny Flexon here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by former two-weight world champion Carl Frampton. Carl, how are you?
I'm all right, Danny. Not too bad.
Glad to hear it. Now, we're here to talk about Tyson Fury against Dillian Whyte. I guess, first of all, the absence thus far of Dillian Whyte from participation in the pre-fight media events, do you think that will have any impact on the promotion and, more importantly, on the fight itself?
I don't know. I think that as long as we've seen that Dillian's tweeted something today, so I don't know actually what's in the contract and what is reasonable promotion of the fight. But as long as if he fired a few tweets out and attends the final press conference, if that's enough, and he hasn't broken any contractual obligations, I think it's a pretty shrewd move from Dillian Whyte not to be involved, because Tyson, he's the master of mind games and he can manipulate things and he can make people look foolish. And I think if you're Dillian Whyte, you're a hothead and you're aggressive. You just don't want to be around that. So I think it's probably been a pretty clever move from him to stay away, as long as he's not breaking any rules.
Now, it's pretty much generally accepted that Fury is the superior technical boxer and that Whyte will have to drag him into more of a fight to have any chance. Have you ever experienced anything like that in your career? Because I think of most of your biggest fights, you were tended to be favoured as the more, better technically. People that know boxing know that I was technically a decent fighter. They think, looking at my stature, that I have to be aggressive and go forward, but I actually like to counter punch and box off the back foot. I think that the only way really that I can see Dillian having a chance of winning is a shootout and to draw Tyson into a fight. But in saying that, because of what we've seen in Wilder 2 and 3, even if that happens, I still have to favour Fury. But that's his biggest chance, isn't it? That to land that left hook. I think that what Dillian does a lot is he'll catch the left hook and count and throw it. So he'll catch it and throw. I think his best chance is if he's winging at the same time. That's his best chance. But he has to get close with his jab, and he has a good jab. But it's just really hard for me to see a way that he can win the fight. If you were creating kind of an archetype fighter that would have the best chance to defeat Tyson Fury, what attributes would that fighter need to have?
It's not Dillian Whyte. I think if you want to create or build a fighter that Tyson Fury looks good against, it's close to Dillian Whyte. I think you need someone as big as him, someone maybe an Usyk, but of Tyson Fury's stature. That gives him a difficult night. But even saying that, he may find a way to beat that guy as well.
Now, talking about Usyk Joshua, we know is now going ahead, the rematch. What do you make of that, and particularly in terms of Usyk's mindset, having experienced what he's been through?
I really don't know how credit to him, fair play, to be able to take part in a training camp and get ready to fight. I'm sure he has friends and family in Ukraine at the minute and going through that horrible situation, and he's just come out of the war zone himself. And I don't know how you prepare for a fight of that magnitude with what's going on. You have to give him a lot of credit for doing so. But I just feel like even before we take all that out of the equation, I feel like if AJ gets the tactics right, and a lot of people don't disagree with us and they feel like Usyk would win the fight again comfortably, but I feel like if AJ got the tactics right, then there's a fair chance he could win the fight. And when I say get the tactics right, he just needs to be a brute, really. There's no real scientific approach to it. Be clever enough not to get hit clean that often, but you need to be on the front foot and you need to be throwing Usyk around at every opportunity and imposing your strength on him. And if he can do that this fight, and again, I suppose with what's going on as well in the background, then he's got every chance of winning.
Now, if AJ comes through that and Fury, you've predicted he'll beat Whyte, who's going to be the last man standing in the heavyweight division?
I think Fury. I feel like Fury beats them all. I feel like AJ has a chance against him because he's a good fighter, and I think people just rule him out. But I feel like Dillian Whyte has a chance against him as well. They're all big guys and they can all land, and damage can be done. But I feel like if it's kind of a semi-final for the big one, the final, my last pound would be on Fury.
Now, this is the biggest fight of Fury's career, if not perhaps the most competitive. We'll find out soon enough. But what more can Fury do to increase his profile and solidify himself, if you like, as the biggest attraction in boxing? Well, he win this fight certainly, and do it in style in front of a packed out Wembley. But the fight we all want to see, and I hope it comes off. I hope that Fury wins this fight, and I hope that AJ beats Usyk, and then I hope we see that fight, and that sells Wembley out twice if it was possible.
Brilliant, Carl. Really appreciate your time.
Thanks, Donnie.